Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 403rd episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Mr. Jim Padilla. You're in for a treat. The dude knows his stuff. Gain the sales edge. Optimize the best salespeople to grow. He brings on salespeople, and companies will pay him to basically have this outsourced sales team. So he is training these people. He is tracking their calls. He knows what works. So you're going to get it straight from the horse's mouth. We're talking about how to keep salespeople optimized, why there is no quote-unquote best salesperson, what he has learned from running 25,000 sales conversations through his platform each year, and a whole lot more. All right, so you're in for a treat. We had Dr. Cindy McGovern on previous episode, Every Job is a Sales Job. She just released her new book. And I love the title. I love the book. I love the concept because we are all in sales. You need to understand that. Everybody in your company needs to understand that. Because every single thing that we do that customers can see, that prospects can see, it impacts a sale. Okay. And even if somebody is truly internal, nobody outside ever runs into them, how they interact with everyone else in the company can either make them better or make them worse. So every job really is a sales job. So go back and check that out. In my sales training, I talk about how you need to make every sale. How, if you want to make any sale, you must make every sale. And in my Fix Your Follow-Up Failure demos, I talk about the 5, and now 6 actually. I added another one. There's at least 5 problems you have with your business, and it does not include traffic. You do not need more traffic. Most businesses do not need more traffic right now. Your number one problem is conversions. People are coming to your site, and maybe they're not even opting in, but along the process, they're falling out because you're not converting them well. Okay? But if your salespeople don't have anyone to talk to, they for sure are not going to make their numbers. That's why I've had Intercom on as a sponsor now for a month, and I want you to hear just quick 30 seconds what they're up to. What does insight-driven messaging look like for sales? Like a whole lot more deals. Fast. Jump on high-intent leads in the moment with Intercom, the business messenger that extends the reach of your team 24/7. Intercom creates more opportunities for you by booking meetings and collecting data from leads automatically. Take Intercom user Elegant Themes. They now convert 25% of leads through Intercom's messenger. Deals don't wait. Get them with Intercom. Go to intercom.com/deals. That's intercom.com/deals. And man, oh man, do I have a deal for you. I've been talking about the 30-day sales growth program. It's $49.99 right now. I think what I'm going to do, we're going to round that up to $50, right? You pay $49.99, but I'm just saying it's close to $50. So the first 50 people that opt in and enroll, it's going to be $50 a month, $49.99. And then I'm going to raise it to $100. Okay, so then the next 100 people that enroll will be at $100 a month. And then, honestly, I'll figure out what I want to do. There's always people dropping in and dropping out, but I'm going to make some changes to it to where if you drop out and want to come back, you'll just pay the new current price, which will be higher. Because you got to stick with things. But it's literally, a friend of mine joined. I've known a guy named Chris for many years through the Infusionsoft communities out in Florida. And he signed up. We've been talking, and he's very good on the technical side of things. He said, I got to get better at selling. So he joined, and it was cool. He hopped on, went through some of the modules, and one on how to leave a voicemail. He said this one unit, it was just a long explanation. It wasn't anything fancy, wasn't audio, wasn't video, just a simple explanation. Well, I say simple. I should say a detailed explanation. It's simple for me because I've done it for 22 years. But I outlined it, and he said this one section, this one, piece of training is worth the month's investment. Well, I hope so, right? It's $50. But the reason I made it $50, I want to eliminate any objections, any obstacles you may have over money. I want to hang out and just help people. And for $50, maybe it's $100, whatever. I mean, if I have 100 people paying $100, that's 10 grand a month. I have other consulting revenue. I have affiliate income from software sales. If I add 10 grand on top of that, I'm good. Okay. But I got to charge something because you value what you sacrifice for. I would do it for free. I have had people in it for free. I've had single moms in there. I've had guys that have been laid off. I let them enroll for free. I have no problem with that. If you have a need, I want to help you. But your need is to learn how to sell more, faster, at higher margin with less stress and more fun. And you need to invest something in it for it to stick. Okay. So that's why I've priced it the way that I have. I just interviewed a new person that's going to come on starting next week for me. It may be a unicorn. We shall see. I needed somebody with a unique skill set, a varied skill set, at an affordable price. And I may have found her. We shall see. I've got a couple of other folks doing some SEO for me, digging into my website, working on the structure. So laying the foundation to grow. Running ads for the first time in a very long time. We're going to start ramping that up as we dial that in. So if you want a lot of access to me in a short amount of time at a super affordable rate, join the 30-Day Sales Growth Program now. Because as we grow, it's going to cost a little more, and as more people join, I just won't be as accessible. It's just physics, mathematics. So come join, okay? 30daysalesgrowth.com. It's a month-to-month agreement, no contract, 1-year guarantee. What you got to lose? Now let's bring on our guest. Jim Padilla, helping entrepreneurs gain the edge with legit salespeople, all the way from Roseville, hot California. Welcome to the Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
All right, man. Thanks for having me. Living the dream here.
Yeah, whatever. It's hot, dude. I don't want to hear it.
It is. The air conditioner kicked on at 7:30 this morning.
Amen. I got solar, baby. I can run that air. I love it. So what is this gain the edge? You recruit salespeople?
Yeah. That's one of the functions. We primarily, we spend our full time focusing on keeping salespeople optimized. We're the only company I know of that is our core mission. So we have a network of salespeople of all kinds of sizes, shapes, and varieties. And we spend all of our time keeping them at their peak so that they are able to accomplish their goals and dreams. And then, of course, we place those people. So if you're looking for salespeople, we help provide salespeople for your campaigns. We either put you in our network and we can optimize you if you're a solopreneur or a sales pro, or we help you hire salespeople and then we take care of them. Or if you're big enough and the right client, then we just take the whole sales process off your plate and do it for you.
So you help optimize. So walk me through this. Are these people in an office? Are they virtual?
They're all virtual.
Okay. So if somebody, do you train new salespeople? Do you only take experienced salespeople?
Well, we work with anybody who needs to. When it comes to placement, obviously we're going to place the people that are ideally suited for your environment, your product, your community, your mission, right? There's one of the biggest mistakes that most people make when they're hiring salespeople is you're just looking for the best salesperson. And the moment you've defined the best salesperson, you've already missed the mark because there isn't a best salesperson. There's a best one for you and best one for your to sell your product, your mission. You could have a great salesperson who's not in line with what you sell, and they might do okay, but they're not going to optimize because they're not going to be at their best selling for you because they're not buying into what you're doing. There's a billion reasons why people sell, and our secret sauce is tapping into the why of what drives salespeople. And so we actually are more focused on taking great people who are sold out for what you do, matching them up to you, and then keeping them optimized full time. So then we literally create a formula where a good person can overachieve predictably. And then who the hell doesn't want to hire a salesperson like that?
All right. So you got to walk me through this, man.
Absolutely.
It's a pain, right? So let's say I need a salesperson and I come to you and I'm like, man, I need a salesperson, right? I need somebody to help me sell consulting and speaking and HubSpot and everything else. Do I have to hire them full time? Are they an employee of mine, or am I paying you and they're an employee of yours? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, good question. They will work for you. Obviously, whether they're an employee or an IC, that's up to you and your environment and what you're doing. Most of the time, they end up being an independent contractor. The way that we've got our environment structured is that we want to take the burden off of you to have to keep your salespeople fed, because that's usually one of the biggest challenges. Once you hire a salesperson, you now need to have enough leads going to keep them rolling. And typically you either have too many or not enough. And then they're scrambling, and we don't want you generating leads just to have leads, because then of course, then they're probably crap leads. So we put them in an environment where they don't have to get all of their revenue from you, right? They can work for you for whatever amount of deliverable you have. So maybe you have enough to keep them full a third of their time, while they can get the other 2/3 of their time met in other campaigns for clients that we serve. Right. So we want to make sure that you don't have this burden of now having to feed a salesperson.
Gotcha. So is there like a minimum amount that you'd recommend? I mean, because it can be tough to bounce around, right? Like I'm picking up the phone and, I'm selling for the Sales Whisperer, then I hang up and I'm selling, I don't know what, AC services for someone else. I mean, how do you keep them focused?
Yeah.
Or at least optimized, right? But
exactly.
Bouncing around. Would they sell for me? Like if I only need them part-time, 10 hours, would they sell like 5 hours on Monday and Tuesday and then I don't have them the rest of the week?
Totally. That is all worked out by you. Now, here's the key is I want to give you a different perspective. It's not about bouncing around, because they're not moving helter skelter. Most people think like a secure, full-time, simple, routine gig is what most salespeople want. But good salespeople, they typically want variety and challenge and nuance. So it's excitement and an enticement to them to be able to have the variety of selling for you part of the time, selling for somebody else part of the time. That gives them some mix up and it keeps them fresh, keeps them excited, keeps them challenged. So then they don't get into this boring hum routine of selling the same stuff all the time. You know very well, salespeople are a rare breed, right? So they do things a little bit different. And then you're going to work out the schedule that makes sense for you. Maybe they do mornings for you, so they're available afternoons for somebody else. Maybe you do most of your activity the first part of the week, or maybe you do, we have clients that do Friday webinars, so then they're busy with chasing leads on the weekends. So there's no one way to do it. It's all about we want you to be able to sell, to market, and show up the way that works best for you. And then we find a salesperson that matches you best.
But what if what I sell is a little more complex? I mean, how?
Everybody's more complex.
How do we get them ramped up so they're decent enough to work the phones and answer questions?
Sure. The funny part is literally 100% of the clients that we talk to, everybody thinks they're different. And when it comes down to it, it's just a matter of understanding more about your community, your tribe, your product, what's different. And there's not a bullpen of people. So they're not just sitting around waiting for a call to come in. They're branded to you. So they're diving into everything about your products, your services, your clients, your marketplace, your client journey. They need to be intimately acquainted with everything that's happening with your clients and the challenges that they are suffering with, so that they know how to address them. The goal is that when they speak to a salesperson, you want them to feel like they're speaking to you. And so that's vital. And that is, again, one of the biggest points of emphasis in the world that we run, because we want everybody, the branded experience is the most important thing for us. We feel like if you provide a quality branded seamless experience, the sale comes as a result, as opposed to just showing up trying to close a sale.
So, I guess that ramp up, that's just the cost of doing business, huh? Because it may may take a couple of weeks, it may take a month for me to, even full time to get somebody up to speed, and then maybe dial them back to 15 or 20 hours a week. Is that just how it's normally done?
Yeah, it's going to take time. If you think about, here's really where the rubber meets the road for people. Most people see sales as an expense because it's on your P&L. It comes out as the expense side. We look at sales as an asset 100% of the time. And so we want to prize that asset and do everything we can to make sure that sales team, that sales professional has everything they need to thrive and succeed for you. And if you treat it like a relationship, just, you wouldn't show up, you and your wife didn't get to where you are today in the first couple of weeks or even couple of months of your time together, right? You're just feeling each other out, learning how you communicate, learning which side of the bed you like to sleep on, which things matter and which things don't. And that's the way this is. I mean, I would be foolish to promise, and I caution people to work with people who promise you amazing results immediately. What we always focus on is your salesperson is going to be better in 60 days than they are now. They're going to be better in 6 months than they will be in 60 days, and better in 12 months than they are in 6 months. You have to be in it, committed to the long haul. Most of the time people show up with a very short leash and a lot of frustration, like 30 days, 60 days out. They're like, they're not doing what they should be. It's like, they're learning your world. You gotta, you were part of that. One of the biggest challenges I get from salespeople is when they come here, they're like, I'm selling for this phenomenal client. But they don't do anything for me. They give me, here's my leads, here's your script, go to town. And then they only call in, they check on them when they want to know where they're at, where's their numbers. And they're not providing environment and support and connection and updates. And, don't just send them leads, get them involved in what leads are coming and when. Help them, let them speak into what's going on in your marketing and in your strategies. We teach them all the things that we do with our teams so that they're capturing data as they're having sales conversations. So we want them to be able to provide you trends and patterns and qualitative data, not just quantitative data. So you should get a full, robust report and fully engaged with your salesperson, who should be a sales partner for you, not just an employee.
So you mentioned keeping them actively, engaged. And are you helping with marketing as well?
Yeah, well, it's a subtle distinction. We're not marketing.
Okay.
However, we sit on, 25,000 sales conversations a year run through our company. We're on hundreds of campaigns with clients. So we see everything in the marketplace. We know what's working. We know what's not. We know what's hot and what isn't. We know what's trending. So we can give a tremendous amount of intelligent, relevant data to be able to speak into campaigns. But we don't want to own the responsibility of the marketing. We want to leave that to your marketing department. But we can certainly bridge the gap and help things improve faster because we're providing quality data and insight as it comes in.
So what does that mean? It runs through your platform. I've got an 800 number, right? Is it being redirected like to a portal that you own so you can track them?
It depends. Literally every client, every campaign is different. Everybody's got different needs. So yeah, if you got an 800 number that can route in, if you've got, basically what happens is it's all seamless, right, to the client, of course, the end user, I should say. But if you have a booking link, it will no longer be your booking link. It would go to your salesperson. If you have an 800 number, an inbound number of some kind, then that stuff would be then routed to your team. If you have, for live chat on your pages, then your sales team, we would be managing that sales chat and pulling people into conversations for you. So basically anything that you've got your sales sequence and your marketing strategies. And what we do is we look at all the different places where we could intersect that makes sense to be able to put a live touch with the person in the process.
So I get you, basically your team, as a sales manager along with this salesperson.
For sure.
Okay, cool. So you kind of alluded to it a little bit in the beginning, but I mean, what are some of the mistakes that companies make? Because you always see the numbers like sales turnover, some ungodly percentage, 40, 50, 60%, 90%, whatever. And mishires are always happening. The companies usually wait until, their top talent leaves, because usually the top talent that gets recruited away and the dogs stay. Right. So, what are some other mistakes you see people make when it comes to trying to rein in a salesperson?
Well, there's several. Some of the key ones are that most of the time, sales help is usually, for some reason, and I've never understood this, the last thing you think of. It's usually my friend Mike Brunell. He uses the phrase that most companies plug holes with salespeople. Oh, last minute, we need somebody there. Let's put your salesperson there, right? We just need somebody. It's like, you don't live without sales. Your business doesn't exist without sales. It should be the first thing you're thinking about. It should be, how do you optimize this at every turn? How do you give it the best possible service you can to provide everything necessary for them to win, which means you win? Most people wait till the last minute. Oh, I need a salesperson. Let me just find one. And they want to pay them as little as humanly possible, which again, makes no freaking sense. Pay your sales team what they're worth. They will run through brick walls for you. They will go to the moon for you. But if you're too busy trying to, scrimp and save and cut every penny with them, you're thinking all the wrong way. It's just like, why would you, if you're trying to focus on how to spend as little as possible on marketing, you're thinking the wrong way. You should be focusing on what's the ROI of your marketing, not how much you spend on it. And your sales team's the same way. So don't just reach out and grab a person. The other is, as you mentioned, the sales, we call it the revolving door of salespeople. That's always in play. And so I see people all the time, literally every day, come in a ton of different groups online. People say, hey, I need a salesperson, or I'm looking for an appointment setter, or I'm looking for a lead gen guy. Anybody know one? And then they go, yeah, I know somebody. And then they throw you one. And at best, you might have an interview, but because someone else sent them to you, you just assume they're golden. And that's craziness, because just because somebody thrived in one environment doesn't mean they're going to thrive in yours. That's why we're really big on matching up the right fit. And you don't have a clue what kind of experience they have. Why are they a revolving door? Many times it's because the company they worked for didn't take care of them well. And other times it's because they didn't succeed. I know people who've been selling, quote unquote, for 30 years and they couldn't sell their way out of a wet paper bag. Like, just because you call yourself a salesperson doesn't mean you're a salesperson. Just like if you stand in a car, doesn't mean you're a garage, or excuse me, stand in a garage, it doesn't mean you're a car, right? So, and people do that all the time. You need to have a strong vetting process. You need to have a way to verify who they are and how they actually move. We don't look for resumes. We don't even care about resumes. We care. I'm not interested in what you did, or more importantly, what you say you did. We put you into vetting funnels and we start hiring calls. We put people through sequences and series of calls and tests and profiles. We want to see on the spot, can they sell, and how do they sell, and how well do they get themselves out of jams, right? We're constantly testing them from personality, psychology, and skill set. And that's stuff that, we have systems for that. Most people don't have any of that because it's not something you do full time. It's what we do all the time. Right.
So you're talking about pay, right? Do you recommend like all commission? Is it like a higher pay at first? It scales back, as they ramp up. I mean, how do you pay them a lot without breaking the bank?
Great question. It's about being creative in a compensation plan. It's not about paying them the highest commission. It's about structuring the environment so they can get the pay that they need. We've had, I've worked for crap commissions that allowed me to make six figures because I learned how to optimize the whole opportunity, right? So as long as you have a really good incentive plan and they know how they play in it, then they can win. And those are things that we help you with too. We help you structure the right comp plan for you. Depending on your sales cycle length, if it's going to take somebody 90 days to get a sale, then you really should have something in place that's going to support them to that 90 days. You can have a draw, you can have a declining base, which is something a lot of our clients do. They'll start out the first month with, a few grand or whatever might be in place, and it declines. And then by 90 days out, they've got commissions coming. So then that base either goes away or goes down to a low minimum. There's no one way to do it. It's just really understand, make sure that you're crystal clear about how people come from a lead into a sale in your world, so that part that can be systematized and documented so that somebody else can step in and follow that same system and then bring their own expertise to hopefully make it better. and we work with them on making it better.
When do you have a salesperson that's a meat eater versus a farmer, right? If I got one thing I sell is software, right? HubSpot, Infusionsoft, things like that. Some of the Infusionsoft is a month to month. HubSpot is an annual. I've got consulting packages that are, some are 90 days. Some have a 6-month option. If somebody's a meat eater, should I not expect them to stay in touch and try to renew? Should I have somebody different? That's like a customer support / maintenance sort of role.
That's a really good question. And that's spoken like somebody with experience in this area. Because yes, that's a different person. It's a different personality. You meat eaters, they're hunters. They're out there constantly on the hunt for the next thing. That's not ideally going to be the person who's going to nurture that relationship the best. So you need to make sure either that there's a team there, you have a nurturer who is the upsell person, and then you can figure out a number of different ways for them to split commissions and share revenue. But your meat eater, your hunter, they're constantly on the look for where's the next opportunity. And then there's your other person, your nurturer, your relationship person is looking for where's the opportunity within the relationship. And sometimes that person is the same person, but not often. I'm a bit of that person, but I'm definitely more I like to go out and find the new opportunity because I get bored. I need to stay out there and bringing in what's next. So, and those are things that we test for in personality traits and everything as well.
Yeah. It's a crazy world. I mean, right. So what should someone expect from a salesperson in terms of like longevity? I mean, will they stick around a long time? I mean, is it simply stay out of their hair, pay them well, you can keep them forever?
Again, that's going to be a person by person. Mostly, as long as they know they're being taken care of and you do right by them and you pay them on time, you do the things that you're supposed to do, they'll stick around. Obviously, they need to be able to get their bills paid. So as long as you help them understand how they optimize and how they maximize the environment, they'll stick around. We have people in our network. We've created a bit of a come as you are and choose your own adventure here. So we have some people, core people, who all they do is sell for us. And then we have other people who jump on, they'll sell for a launch, and then they'll go do their own thing for a bit, or they'll come and work a live event for us, and then they'll disappear. And it gives them the flexibility that they want. It gives them that supplemental income, or it gives them the opportunity to completely dominate in our environment. And that's why I think it's really important that everybody understands how that works. Don't just put people into your world and just say, okay, you're my jack of all trades. You can sell everything for me and all things, because they may not want to. Typically somebody who's selling a $249 product, or we shouldn't really have to be a conversation, or a $997, $2,000 price point. We have people in our team who only sell that level, and they sell tons of them on launches and campaigns, but they don't sell $20,000 products. And then I have people who are selling $20,000 products that don't want to sell a $1,000 product because they want the bigger challenge. Right. So you want to make sure that you're structuring their world in such a way that supports it. But then you also have to recognize if they're only going to sell 2 or 3 a month, that means they're doing something else the rest of the month.
Yeah. I had a question that just escaped my brain. How, like, if somebody's working for you, but then, can you help me like craft scripts and things like that? Or like if I say, all right, I'm going to hire somebody 10 hours a week. This is, what I'm doing, cold calling, outreach. Here's my script. Like, would you look at it and go, oh, that's junk? Here's what we find that's working. Like, do you kind of give that sort of consulting overlay?
For sure. The key support, where we win in all of this is that we've created something called the Peak Performance Network. And this is where our team lives. This is where the people we hire for clients live. And this is where solopreneurs can come in and have access to. And the Peak Performance Network is literally just an environment. It's not a program or a modular based program. It's an environment where we support salespeople to success 7 days a week.
Can you get a little closer?
Yeah.
Getting a little low.
So, we keep people in this environment where we have weekly calls on strategy and support. We're debriefing campaigns and launches and events. We have calls on individual tactics. So what are you doing in your sales campaign that we can help you fine tune? And then we have mindset calls. We have metrics calls. So we literally run you, even if you're a solopreneur, we run you like you're on our team. And we help you focus on what are your metrics, what are your goals, what are your targets, and we do everything we can to help you optimize that. So if your script is garbage or not perfect, we want to help you fine tune that. We want to help you get crystal clear on how you're positioning your offer, maybe whether it's on a webinar or in one-on-one conversations or you're dropping an offer from stage. We are here to help support the sales professional to optimize.
And is that just part of the package?
That's part of the package. That's the deal. So, if we are hiring, if you're outsourcing to us, then we take care of that altogether. Few people are qualified for that. But if we hire you a salesperson, then you just pay a monthly fee for that. And we are bringing that in and we take care of it. And if you're a sales pro or just a solopreneur and you need that support, then you just pay a monthly fee and you're in, and we take care of you.
Does cold calling still work?
I'll tell you what, cold calling is coming back in fashion, man, just like 70s clothes, because here's what's happened over the last few years. We've tracked metrics to the point where we reached a point where 88% of calls were always going to voicemail or not being offered, which means only 12% of people were actually even willing to talk. But over the last few years, all of the online platforms, everybody's bombarding people with all kinds of bots and messages and automation so that people are tired of being touched online and they want a personal touch. So now they're starting to answer the phones. It's pushing closer to 50% now, depending on the environment. As long as you're calling in consistent, people answer the phone. And as long as you treat them with respect, they'll actually talk to you because A, their phones are ringing less, and B, they're really sick of being spammed online.
You mean they don't want my 75 steps to building an email system that's guaranteed to work 90% of the time?
Exactly. What's funny is I see this almost every day. I saw it just again this morning. A guy who's an agency. We perfect your lead generation strategies online using our foolproof system. We're looking for cold callers to help us find clients. Like, now that's interesting. You have perfected generating traffic online, and you're needing cold callers to get people to see your traffic online.
Right. I know. Never fail. Just like those people, they hit you up on Instagram, right? Get 10,000 followers. And you look at them and like they have 7. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not a smart man, but something is not computing right here.
Totally.
So are they answering their phone on that first call? Is it still like multiple touches? Do you have to have like a good email or a good voicemail, leave a series of them, kind of warm them up? Or are they actually picking up the phone?
They're picking up the phone more than they have. Like I said, in some campaigns, it's pushing to 50% of people who are answering. And it's all not either, right? So you want to be sending voicemails. We use an ever-present strategy so that they feel your presence everywhere. You want to be in their voicemail. You want to be texting them. You want to be calling them. You want to be sending them an email, and you want everything pointing to each other. So when you leave in a voicemail, hey, I just left you an email regarding this, but you leave something in the email that they have to go to, right? You don't have the email and the voicemail say the same thing. You have a voicemail that points them to the email so they can click on whatever they need to click on, right? You send them a text with a link that communicates it, right? And so they're pointing like, oh, wow, yeah, I did see that email. Then they're checking out the email. Yeah, he did leave me a voicemail. I better go listen to it or whatever. So they're feeling your presence on all places. So like we use an outbound team. We're doing text campaigns. We use, our closing team is also doing calls to follow up. And then we're sending them, emails and or even messenger bots, whatever. But it's all combined. It's not just one place where you're just bombarding them.
So you mentioned cell phones. I mean, are they giving up their cell phones? Their numbers? Is it okay if like the first communication is a text?
Yeah. In many campaigns, we're seeing that's the best way because your text messages have a 97% open rate. And so people are always on their phone. I think everybody listening to this podcast you're probably listening to it on your phone, or at least you have your phone nearby. And so you want to make sure that you can touch people there, nurture them, and then pull them into a conversation.
So I guess as always, it's just got to be an enticing offer.
Exactly.
So I give up my phone, right? Because if I didn't opt in for something, because I get these spam texts all the time, 85% off, write a book, whatever. I'm like, dude, I never signed up for this.
Exactly.
And it feels like a text spam is even more offensive than an email spam to me, right?
Right.
So how are people getting these cell phones?
You want to make sure that whatever you're putting out that is enticing enough for somebody to trade it. You think about everything is an exchange. They'll give you their email address fairly easily. There's low value. Most people see their email address as low value. They see their cell phone number as high value. So what can you give them that makes the cell phone a no-brainer for them? And I can tell you, we get people giving up cell phones all the time. So don't believe for a minute that they don't. But you got to make something enticing. You have to do the work, guys. Here's the difference is, you can't just throw out some crazy opt-in. Make sure that what you're positioning demonstrates that you are the expert and you understand their problem intimately, and you have something that can be of use to them, and they'll trade for it. And then you can, whenever you're communicating that, ask for their phone number and and let them know, say, hey, we understand the value and how much you prize your cell phone number. We won't spam you. We only want to be able to deliver good information to you that you can jump out of at any time. Right. You
talked earlier about like the noise, right? I love all these experts, right? Cold calling's dead. PPC's dead. Emailing's dead. I mean, is social media, is it actually dying? I feel like I hate it more and more.
You're speaking my language right there. I personally hate social media for a lot of reasons. And you got to go where your people are and who's not on social media. Everybody I know is on it, even if they don't want to be, because they feel like they have to be for some reason. So if that's where your people are, then that's where you need to be so you can find them.
But do I need to be there with an ad or be transparent and authentic and emote?
Yeah. Well, again, it always comes down to the same thing. You just need to know your people, right? We have some clients that we serve where the emoting is vital because they're a spiritual type brand or a relationship coach or somebody in the transformation coaching space. We have a lot of clients there, and it's important to their people to be able to feel them. We have other clients that are, supporting mechanics and technicians and contractors, and they're not interested in the field. Now, once they get behind the walls and they buy their product, then they do whatever they need to do. But up front, it's like, hey, let's get you productive and get you out of the truck so you're not climbing in attics yourself in 100-degree weather. You have your team doing it while you're supporting them, et cetera. So it's really speaking the language that your people need to hear. And here's something that y'all need to dive into. The better you can articulate your ideal client's pain, the better they'll give you the credit for knowing how to solve their problem, right? Okay. So you need to speak their problem, and please understand that they don't know how. So don't, be careful of the consultative approach, because the consultative approach to selling is I ask you questions and I extract things from you. The danger with that is most people don't really know what their problem is. And more importantly, they don't even know how to talk about it. So you're busy trying to get them to say something that they don't know how to articulate. Then you're trying to solve that problem when their problem is actually over here instead of over there. And now you wonder why they don't say yes, because you haven't actually clarified your expertise in solving the problem that they really have.
So how do I know what their problem is, though, if I don't ask them questions?
You want to be able to speak to their problem. You know your people really well. If you go back through the clientele that you've been working with, you know what their clear pain points are. You know the key mistakes that they keep making. And if you speak to those mistakes and the consequences of those mistakes, your ideal client's going to go, oh yeah, dude, I did that yesterday. That was me. You can tell a story that they can see themselves in, and then they now wrap in it.
Right. Amen. All right, man. So where do we send people that are having these problems? You know our listeners. You know the pain they're having. How do we fix it for them?
Amen. Here's the thing. We want to support you to be able to be optimized. This isn't about sales training. It's not even about sales management. It's about making sure you peak perform on a daily basis, because the better you are, the better you're going to be able to serve your clients. We live to support you through your sales experience to make sure you're living at your best. And I'm going to send you to a place where you can contact me whichever way you are, which is best for you. You can go to Jim P, Jimp, like Padilla, Paul, Peter, jimp360.com. And when you get there, if you go there on your phone, it's ideal. If you open it up, the contact button, you can text me, you can phone me, you can WhatsApp me. You scroll to the bottom, you hit the save to contacts button. You'll have my contact information in your cell phone, and you can reach me any way that you need to. Shoot me a text and say that you were on the Sales Whisperer podcast, or the Sales Podcast with Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, and you want into my world, and we'll get you into our Facebook groups. We'll get you support. We'll get you free resources. We'll get you set up with a sales economics conversation so that we can help you break down your numbers and see where you're at, what kind of help you need, where you might need the support to succeed. Bottom line is, you need great sales support, whether it's you being optimized or getting your team optimized. You can't keep going on the path that you're on. You need to jump out and get some help and let us shine some light on what you're doing.
Yeah. Salespeople are a unique breed. You got to rise up.
Yes.
Stop
trying to do it on your own, and stop buying all the hype and the nonsense. Right? Yeah. You got to put in the work, or it's never going to happen.
Still a need for salespeople.
Always.
We're not dinosaurs yet. We're making a comeback, baby.
For sure.
Cool, man. Jim Padilla, all the way from Sacramento. Thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast, man. It's been great.
All right. Thanks for having me, Wes.
All right. My wife is cooking hamburgers, so I need to wrap this up. But I hope you got a lot out of that. Stop the revolving door of salespeople. All referrals are not great. Speak their language. Consultative selling is overblown. Amen. Goodness gracious. But hey, that's some of the things we talk about as well in the 30-Day Sales Growth Program. But, give us a shout on social media. Let me know if you heard this episode, if you liked it. Give me a 5-star review on the iTunes, on the Google, the Stitcher, the TuneIn, the CastBox, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. All right? And go join up, 30daysalesgrowth.com. Come hang out with me. Let me help you grow. Thanks for listening. I'll go sell something.